I'm Melinda Swartz. I'm a member of the Milwaukee Jewish Community and a member of the Milwaukee JCC, and I'm here today to share this week's Moment of Torah. This week, we read two parashot, Acharei Mot and Kedoshim. The first parashah, Acharei Mot, the title of which literally means after the death, refers to the death of Nadav and Abihu, Aaron's two eldest sons, whose death we read about 2 weeks ago in Parashat Shemini. Here, after the death of Nadav and Abihu, God gives instructions for the rituals for the high priest on Yom Kippur and the commandments for all Jewish people about how and when to observe Yom Kippur. This parashah also contains commandments about sacrifices and forbidden sexual relationships. The second parashah, Kedoshim, is the parashah that I'm going to focus on. The title Kedoshim literally is the plural form of the Hebrew word for holy, Kodesh. In this parashah, there are numerous commandments involving the overarching concept of holiness. This parashah is therefore called the Holiness Code. The laws of holiness cut across all aspects of life. There are commandments regarding rituals, business ethics, how to treat the poor, about gossip, forbidden sexual relationships, and family relations. This parashah is one of the richest parts of the Torah and contains some of the most beautiful principles of Judaism. I want to share some of those principles with you. We are told not to steal, not to deal deceitfully or falsely with one another, and not to defraud each other. We are told not to keep a laborer's wages until the morning. We are told not to insult the deaf or place a stumbling block before the blind. We are told not to render an unfair decision and not to favor the poor or show deference to the rich. We are told that when we harvest our field, that we are not to pick it bare or glean everything from the entire field, and that we are to leave our vineyard's fallen fruits for the poor and the stranger. We are told not to hate our kinfolk in our hearts. We are told not to take vengeance or bear a grudge against our countrymen. And in one of the most famous passages, we are told, quote, to love your fellow as yourself, close quote. Returning to the title of this parashah, Kedoshim, the fact that the plural form of holy is used gives deeper meaning to the commandments of this parashah. First, God commands all of the people to be holy. He says, you shall be holy, Kedoshim to you, using the plural form of holy in Hebrew. This means that everyone has within them the capacity to be holy. Holiness is not reserved for the high priest or another special class of people. Each of us can create holiness. Seemingly small and ordinary tasks consistent with these holy commandments create sanctity in our everyday lives. Second, the use of the plural form also suggests that holiness cannot be achieved without living in a community. One can simply not be holy and live by the commandments of the holiness, and live by the commandments of holiness by living in isolation. One must interact with members of the community to fulfill these commandments. Moreover, by living by these ethical commandments in our community, we inspire each other to honor these holy commandments and to create a holy community together, both in our Jewish community and in our greater Milwaukee Jewish community. And that is this week's Moment of Torah. Shabbat Shalom.